Go. Here we go.
Mayor, give me 1 second, please.
All right.
Give me 2 more minutes, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I call the order of the City Council meeting for September 8th, 2021, 7 o'clock, 7:03 p.m. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Campbell. Councilwoman Gadara. Councilwoman Wilson. Councilwoman Julian. Councilman Stevens. Here. Vice Mayor Leon.
Here.
Mayor Harris.
I'm present.
You have a quorum.
All right. Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Father, thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy towards us. Thank you for all that you've done and all that you're getting ready to do. Father, we pray that you continue to reign on our city with your many blessings, that you continue to give us your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding as we discuss business that affect your people. Father, we ask for you to continue to grow the city of Miami Gardens, and we promise to give you all the praise, honor, and glory that your precious name deserves. It is in your Son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One night we're gonna sing the national anthem. All right. We're on approval of minutes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, I do have before you the July 14th draft meeting minutes for your approval.
I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. Show the minutes approved. We're on order of business. I need to know if there's any items that need to be pulled or added to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I will like to withdraw item 11.8 off the agenda with the thought of bringing that back at another time with some better information moving forward.
And that's 11.8.
That's correct.
Show it pulled.
Withdraw.
Withdrawn?
Yes.
Show it withdrawn. Are there any other items that need to be added or deleted? All right, we're on special presentation.
Can we get a motion?
Oh, I need a motion. And
Motion.
been moved and seconded. Signify by saying all in favor. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Showing that there's none. Show it pulled or show it withdrawn.
Show the agenda approved.
And agenda approved.
All right, we're on to item 6, special presentation. Item 6.1, special presentation by Councilwoman Linda Julian.
2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This month's Small Business Award is going to Servin Delight LLC. Yes. The owner of Serving Delight LLC is Ms. Donna V. Rose.
Excuse me, sir, we do this in council meetings,
They're excited.
but we're excited too for you.
Servant Delights is a local small business that has been operating in the city of Miami Gardens since 2017. Servant Delights believes in this incredible community that has great potential. As a small business, they have had many difficult challenges, but in spite of it all, they pray, they figure it out, and dust themselves off. Hold their heads up, create a plan B, and keep moving forward. Quitting is never an option for them. Their main slogan is quitters never win and winners never quit. They win, they can offer jobs to others. They win when they offer jobs to others, They win when they serve others with a joyful heart. They win when persons that approach their juice center do not have enough money or don't have money at all to make their purchase, but they accept whatever they have, if any. The people and staff at Servant Delights believe in being a blessing, the spirit of giving and winning. Servant Delights desires to purchase with their award business-specific juice machines, which will aid in their production. Also, there is a need for marketing materials and supplies, such as labels, menus, a bottling company, legal counsel, a commercial kitchen, just to name a few, which is not only a need, but a necessity when trying to run a small business. I have to agree with you, Ms. Donna. Earning this prestigious Emerging Small Business Award will be great help in terms of their branding, purchasing, and growth. They are confident that this award will take them to the next level of greatness, and they are all in. Their goal is to continue to impact the Miami Gardens community by serving their delicious, healthy juices one sip, one taste bud at a time, by getting people to drink what they don't normally eat. So please, Mayor and Council, if you would join me in providing this prestigious honor to Serving Delights LLC, Ms. Donna Rose. Let's take a photo.
All right, there's no more special presentations.
No, we're on to public
On
comment.
public comments.
Yeah, we do have one person for in-person public comment, sir. We're gonna get her, and it is Dr. Lorena Stafford, I believe that's the name. They're gonna bring her in shortly. There are no public comments on Zoom and no in-person public comment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Hello, ma'am.
May I?
Yes, I need your name and address for the record.
Minister Dr. Lorna Shuford, rating from 835 Northwest 197th Street, City of Miami Gardens.
Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone in the City of Miami Garden, especially and inclusive of the mayor, Rodney Harris. And we're very appreciative to be given a few minutes to thank the city. We are a new program within the City of Miami Garden with Little River and Royal Academy Soccer Club and Athletic Club. We're operating from Dr. Lester's Brown Park as well as North Dade. And we wanted to just let you know that we're here to support the city. We're here to provide, especially the inner city youth, an opportunity for a third opportunity in the sports industry through soccer and basketball as well. And we just want to let the commissioners, council, and members of the city, whether business or residential, that we are here to support, enhance the youth opportunity. And also we have a program that deals with the special need, the challenge community and seniors, where we apply special exercise and techniques to help endeavor their ability to move and have better motor skills. So if any of the council members, the mayors, or anyone in the city, business or residential, would like to support us, volunteer, or at least let us know that you appreciate us being here, we welcome that opportunity. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other public comments?
No, sir, there's no other public comments.
Public comments are now closed. We're on ordinances for first reading. There are none. We're on ordinance for second reading, Mr. Clerk.
Item 9.1, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Miami Gardens, Florida, amending section 34-233 of the Code of Ordinances relating to street renaming / code designations, providing for adoption of representation, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date. And this is sponsored by Councilwoman Katrina Wilson, and this is a public hearing.
Public hearing on this item is open.
We have no pre-registered public comments, no written communication, nor do we have any in-person comments on this item.
All right. I need a motion on this item. It's been moved and seconded. It's open for Councilwoman Wilson. Could you? Yeah, explain your item.
This is the second reading for this ordinance, and as presented in the first reading, I think that we believe that an amendment was necessary so that if there were people who were still alive and deserved some type of recognition, that an opportunity to be able to do that will be afforded, and that this council would get an opportunity to hear that request, as opposed to it not being allowed at all. So I would respectfully request the support of the council in amending this ordinance. Thank you. On the second reading.
I had some questions about the item of it, and not necessarily the item itself, but still some concerns, because we in the old council worked extremely hard at trying to maintain control over naming streets and buildings and things of that nature, and I'm still having a difficult time seeing how we can be able to control this if there's no what I want to say, if there's no type of controls over it, if we are going to allow people to who have the funding to go ahead and pay for a street to be renamed, then what would stop us from having all of our streets named after people who may not even be part of this community?
I don't believe that the ordinance says anything about the process to which individuals are able to apply, other than we can make a recommendation as a council, and otherwise it still goes through the process that already existed. The exception to the rule is that you don't have to be dead in order for that to happen. It didn't amend the process outside of the fact that a council member can bring an exception to this dais without necessarily having to wait, I think, 2 to 3 years to get a street renamed.
And how I guess, I think there still should be some type of structure on that. Like maybe if we did it every 2 years, and maybe if we had like 2 nominees per year, instead of having it where next week we'll be naming 15 streets after somebody.
The only way that next week you could name that is that if a council member brought it. It could not be done outside of the regular process that currently exists. It can only be done if a council person presented the opportunity for a street to be named out of the regular sequence that's already outlined.
Any other questions from the dead?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Councilman Wilson, I truly appreciate what it is that you're trying to do here. But I do think that we need a process that will allow us to consider everyone collectively and not independently.
Tell me what you mean.
And so, to the mayor's point, right? So we name the street after someone today, and then a council member will ask that we name a street after someone in 2 weeks, and then it just becomes this, there's no protocol in place. And quite frankly, to be honest with you, I feel that there's so many other people that have come before this community, that has poured into this community, that's done a lot of work into this community. I mean, on this wall here, that don't have a street named after them.
I think that when you get into the whole idea where your value versus my value is just not the right thing to do. I think that if you value someone and you think that they are worthy of that honor, as a council person, you have the right to submit that. And as council people, we have the right to vote for it or not vote for it, right? I think also that you're missing 2 things. You're convoluting a process, and the process should not be convoluted. We on this dais will be responsible not to bring something in every other week. I mean, we just won't do it. I'm saying you won't do it, you won't do it. We will not come in every other week and do that. We will be responsible in doing that. Now, I do think that the public, the current system that the public has in place for the public to submit a request, there was no amendment to that. There was no amendment at all. I think also that, you can look at an individual, you might not like them. In your opinion, you may think that they're not worthy. Then we get into a huge debate, right? And when you compare one to the other, then you get into a fight. The process is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the individuals. And there is no reason why a person ought to have to wait a decade, if you will, 5 years, if you will, to get a street name. That process is a bureaucratic stop process that's not fair to the residents. And I think that residents have a right to be heard, and this council has a right to be heard. And the process that you guys have on here, frankly, is designed to say you're not going to do any street namings because you don't like to name streets.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, from the beginning, I've made it clear that I believe if we were to amend this ordinance, we would be in the business of naming streets after everyone weekly. And I still stand on that stance today. We had a workshop, and collectively, we discussed that the proposed items or changes that Councilwoman Wilson is sponsoring, we said that we collectively we agreed to that. Is that, and then we brought this on as a first reading, and now it's on for a second reading, the amendment to the ordinance. Is that that's before us, correct?
Correct.
So the reality of it is that we agreed to make that change. So if we decide to go into another direction today on the second reading, what would that be, Madam Attorney? That would be.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I understood that process. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I understood.
And I want to say,
I want
to say something else too.
Wait, I just wanted to make sure for the record, I just wanted to make sure I understood that process and what it is that we're discussing as it relates to the ordinance change. Because again, I don't want to be, I don't want to be put in the position where we get street happy naming and start naming streets after everyone who one deem is necessary or worthy of receiving one. So that was my stance in the beginning, and I've made it clear, and I stand on that stance today as well.
Right. And I'm not against naming streets after anyone, but I just think that we have to be cautious about how we go about doing it.
And so what's in the process that's not cautious? What's in the current process that's not cautious? And what is in the process as it existed before that prevents it from ever happening? And so I think that you have to be careful. First of all, let's be real. We're a mature city now. We're not the city that we were in 2003 or in 2006 or in 2010, where, folks might have been doing things with a lot less caution and a lot less reserve and a lot less things. We are a lot more mature, a lot more sophisticated, a lot more savvy in our governance. And internally, we can come up with the types of internal controls that allow us to be able to honor our citizenry with good judgment and to all out ban and prevent us from honoring individuals who have made viable contributions to this community, whether you agree or not. The process should be free flowing and it should be allowed to happen. And to me, I think it's a stopgap and it's a bureaucratic ploy to prevent what people want to do and should do. Let it flow through the process. And once the process stops, then it doesn't happen. But the one that's on the books now is an unfair process that's designed to prevent it from occurring. Just like the naming of these buildings, where you would name buildings and you don't put people's name on them. You name bridges and you don't have the names on the bridges.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Let me ask Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, is there any way we could put this on the table for further discussion?
Well, right now, we have a motion to approve this item. That's what's before the council right now.
Yes, sir, you can make a motion to table it at any time.
You can make a motion to do what?
Table it? Yeah, that was mine. To put it on the table.
Okay, so now when we table it, what does that mean?
Well, two things. First, once you make a motion to table, that item has to be dealt with first, immediately. But what that would mean is two things. When you table it without a date, that means it's tabled without a date. It has to be brought back. You table it with the date, then you bring it back that date.
Then I wouldn't have a problem with amending this ordinance to include that we do street namings every 2 years and there's two nominees during that process. I think that gives us a little bit more control over how we can kind of handle naming streets.
And
Mr. Mayor,
that's why
Mr.
I
Mayor,
asked
can we get the
about,
vice mayor to withdraw his motion then so you can have that discussion? Because Robert's rules say, once you do a motion to table, you have to have that voted on. But if you withdraw as vice mayor to let them discuss, then you can
Know
always.
that, or you want to still?
wait, but he didn't make a
ask the
motion.
table?
He
I
didn't?
thought he didn't make a
No,
motion.
Okay, I'm
he
sorry.
didn't
He just asked a
Ask
question.
I'm sorry, I thought.
Yeah, he asked the question. Mr.
sorry.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to, I want to make sure, Councilwoman, that, that I'm hearing exactly what it is that you're combing out when it comes down to making an amendment to this ordinance. So I do believe that should we, based on what the vice mayor said with tabling it and having that conversation, because there, a lot of times we're not able to have that, we're not having conversation, of course, according to the Sunshine Law, about what it is that we would like to see and move forward collectively as a council. So I do believe that if we were to table this, we can find time on the calendar where we can sit together and actually discuss how it is that we decide we should be moving forward when it comes down to making an order, making amendments to this ordinance or anything else that my colleagues and I may actually want to see happen. So I think if we were to table it, it would give us an opportunity to have that conversation by way of a workshop to discuss into detail and move forward. So that's something that I think is necessary. I think it's necessary.
There were two resolutions on here. One is for the street naming, right? And one is for the ordinance necessary to have the street naming. Okay, so then if you table this, then that means that the other one has to be tabled too. Is that so?
At what
Okay.
time?
No.
so I make a motion to table.
I'm finished with the discussion.
Okay.
Okay. When we take a look at this ordinance being placed on this agenda, I want someone to explain to me what is wrong with the ordinance today that was not right, that was wrong, that was good enough for it to be passed the first time. What's wrong with it today? Because there has been no amendment to it.
I think that's the point of us tabling it, so we can have a deeper dive into it and come up with a solution.
Okay, so then-
And resolutions for everyone.
All right, so then if it's gonna be tabled, then it has to be tabled with a date.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So let's put a date on it.
Well,
Well, we gotta,
first you gotta.
somebody
make
got a
motion
second.
to
I
do
made
it.
a motion. There's a motion on the floor right
Is
now.
there a motion?
There's a motion on the floor to table this item.
But it's not with a date.
But,
All right.
Madam Clerk,
It could be
Madam
tabled,
Attorney.
the time certain or table, but if there are gonna be changes to it, it's gonna be another third reading, depending upon what you change. So just keep that in mind. If you make additional changes, yes.
And I just want to be clear about this. Street namings should not be personalized to whether or not you like an individual or not. If there is nothing in this ordinance that puts a criteria on there that makes it some way that we can judge them from a personal standpoint, then it's unfair to make it personal at this juncture. If the criteria is going to go forward and a person meets that criteria, that's what's on there, then there's a form of discrimination that's occurring.
Yeah, but I don't think we're making it personal.
But when you begin to compare it to people all the way around, then it is personal. If it was not personal, then, and we're just talking about the process, then the process really hasn't really changed that much, other than the fact that you're taking it out of sequence.
But then that's probably where the problem will occur at that point, because then if we did not have anything in place to determine who streets should be named after, then it'll be a free fall as to who might just be able to come in, I want a street named after me.
So you're suggesting or saying that the ordinance needs to include a criteria for selection?
It has one already.
It does have
It
one.
has one already.
It has one.
Okay, so then what are we amending and tabling? What are we amending?
So,
Mhm.
Can I, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
No, I'm suggesting that when we table it, and we do have a workshop, should we decide to table it, as it relates to the process, because I agree with the mayor, there should be a process in place, there is a process.
Right.
But we need time, or we need an opportunity to go comb through that process to ensure that we are not just naming, to ensure that this is not an easy process where one can just come and say, I want a street named after. And I think that was, and I'm not, I can be mistaken, but I think that was the case on why the past council put this ordinance in place before.
So what about
Correct.
this ordinance says that anybody can come up and do it? How did it change?
Well, the reality of it is that we are should we decide to vote in favor of this, we will be removing, pretty much the clause.
So in other words,
hold on.
the only clause that we amended to take out was the death clause.
No, we amended the other one, the other clause as well.
Which one?
The clause that stated that, wait a minute. Yeah, it has to be
Yeah,
a unanimous
decision, right, and death.
Right.
So the person had to be dead, and it would require the unanimous approval of this council. Those are the only two things that changed. The timing was not changed, the criteria, the payment, nothing else changed. Death and unanimous.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
okay. I'm looking at the document again, and the two things, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong, is definitely the deceased. We want to change it from the person have to be deceased, that they could be living, so we can name a street after them. And also, it does not have to be, because right now as it stands, it has to be a unanimous vote, but we're saying it could be a majority vote. So these are the two things, majority vote, and they don't have to be deceased.
and now the mayor wants to add a selection process where we can have a couple of people at one time.
Right, well, there will be two people nominated, and then we do it every 2 years.
Can that be amended here now?
What, Mr. Mayor?
Well, we got.
Well, I gotta clarify something first, because those are not the only two changes to the
Right,
ordinance.
that's what I wanted to.
The major change to the ordinance is that now a mayor or council member can bring a request outside of the application process timelines. Can you, so I don't know, now that you know that, if the question is, can you add, I'm sorry, a process, you can, I'm gonna have to bring it back. I mean, I'm gonna have to, I don't have language, I'm not gonna be able to craft language tonight for what the mayor is saying. And you're only talking about, Mayor, are you only talking about when people outside bring an application, or are you also talking about instances when council people bring applications?
I'm saying when as a whole. when
Anybody.
council-
So yeah, that would
anyone
require
bring-
a substitute.
It can be two
Rewrite.
people per the two years, every 2 years.
So, I mean, no, I can't do that sitting here with the motion, because what we're gonna have to do is then, I'm trying to be clear, are you talking about now removing the ability, not removing, because it's not that way right now.
No.
But in this ordinance, taking out the procedure that would allow council member to initiate a process and just do one process, which is what we already had.
That's what I would say, do one process that we already had.
What we
Well,
already
with
had
the-
before this ordinance was proposed was the person had to be deceased, unanimous vote, once every 2 years, that you all would consider applications. That's how the original ordinance was drafted. The proposed amendment now would allow a person to be alive, remove their unanimous consent, but it would also authorize the city council and or the mayor to make a proposal at any time. That's what's before you tonight.
So we want to take out the anytime.
The anytime and put every 2 years, and that's it, and the two nominations, every 2
So I would have to bring something back.
Okay. So,
But are we tabling it, or are we moving it to a time certain? We need a motion.
so. yeah,
Well,
we need a
Mr.
motion.
Mayor, before we do a motion, I have a quick question. So if you're saying every 2 years, there's only going to be 2 nominations? That's what we're asking?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so, and that's gonna be based on the council, like Madam Attorney said, in the public, or is that all inclusive, the public as well as the council? Only 2 every 2 years.
Yeah, only 2 every 2 years. I don't,
So,
in order for the public to do it, it has to come through a council person anyway, correct? Madam Attorney?
Well,
If
a
the-
council member would have to sponsor
Has
it.
the sponsor.
And that's
so
still
it
the- that's
has
still
to
the
come
pro- the
through council
process.
person.
so just to look at the fairness of it, say it's 7 of us. So say for instance, Councilwoman Wilson wants to bring someone in that 2-year period. Say I want to bring someone in that 2-year period. Madam Little Julian wants to do. This
2
is what I'm
people.
saying. So how fair is that going to be if we start, what's the equity in that? If we start saying we only gonna do 2, and we have to either sponsor it or bring it before the council. Let's say if one of us, each of us want to do that within that 2 years, is that still gonna propose an issue? That's my concern. I don't want division, and I don't want, I don't want no conflict. So if either one of us want to bring a person that the street that we want to name it after, that is gonna cause conflict. That's my concern.
I guess.
But it's gonna be conflict if Linda brings a person, you bring a person, Ms. Wilson bring a person, I bring, if 7 of us came at the same night to name 7 different people for street names, it's still gonna be a conflict.
That's why I would be.
Because we gonna have to address it. So what are we gonna do? There's a motion on the table now to table it.
You have a date, you got a date? We can table it, rediscuss it, you can come up with the date.
Monday,
Monday gonna be the budget, so that's gonna be.
right, so we can't have that discussion prior to the budget?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then that way, when it's done, since we have to come back together.
I think we need
Now
that
we
time.
so time on the budget.
This time, I'm sorry, this time you're talking about for bringing this item back for second reading,
No, we're talking about tabling.
just
What time?
tabling it, period.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, I ain't on the tabling thing.
Tabling it with the date.
I have to- I think that when we take a look at this ordinance, it's been a big to-do about nothing. I think that the simplicity of it has allowed us to take a look at it and say, we're gonna amend it enough to make a person not have to be dead in order to get a street name. That's it. The timeline, which you're talking about every 2 years, that was never an issue. Some people put in there and said, well, if council wants to bring something because they deem it necessary and appropriate, that was when there was some allowance there for the council to preempt the 2-year wait if they wanted to have a street name, right? But outside of that, there's no other issue.
So where are we? Are we voting on the item? Or
Right.
are we?
Mr. Mayor, right now I need some clarification. Vice Mayor Leon made a motion to table. There's no date certain for that. For me, we would want a date certain because there's advertisement requirements, because this is second reading. So, but with his motion, there hasn't been a second.
There's a motion on the table to table.
Second,
I second that motion.
Without a date certain?
We're gonna come up with a
We're
date.
gonna
right
come
now.
up with a date.
So we have to put a date certain on it now.
We will.
Yeah, you can pick the date.
please, let's put a date on it so we can move forward.
We will. It's been moved and seconded. We're going to get a date certain on this item.
Councilwoman, would you like to select the date? It can't be Monday because we
What about
need,
To clarify, the date certain
The
is
date
for a
certain will
council
be the
meeting.
next hearing date.
So the next hearing date would be fall on a council meeting. Our next council meeting is September 22nd, and following that is October 13th.
So let's skip,
22nd?
let's do the 22nd.
Now, we got a budget meeting on the
no,
Monday.
October
So it
13th.
have to be the 13th,
Let's do October 13th.
October 13th.
We don't have, no, I said the 22nd.
No, with 22nd, we voting on
We
the budget. and all
doing
that.
budget on the 22nd.
We got 2
doing
days.
budget
You asked
on
for
the
an extra day on the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so October?
October 13th.
October 13th.
Okay.
Thank you. God
Time
bless you.
certain October 13th.
Thank you. I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Show Councilwoman Wilson is opposed. The ayes have it. Item is passed.
I am opposed.
Okay.
All right, to clarify a couple things, to make sure I got the consensus of the council. The consensus of the council is to have a workshop on this when we have the workshop on the budget? Or you want me to, okay. I will get with the council individually.
You can get with us individually and find out when we could be available for the workshop on the name, street name.
I'm clear. All right, we're now on to item 10.1, resolutions public hearing, a resolution of City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, co-designating Northwest 12th Avenue from Northwest 200th Street to Northwest 195th Street as the Nathaniel Natmore Avenue, allocating funds from Councilwoman Katrina Wilson's Public Affairs Special Events account in the amount of $2,500 for the costs associated with this street code designation, provided for directions to the city manager and city clerk, provided for the adoption of representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Katrina Wilson.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Because there was advertisement requirement with this, can we also, because there was advertisement requirement with this, just so that we can have it on the record, I suggest that you make a motion to table this item to October 13th.
Second.
Hold on. The motion, it's been a motion to table this item. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions? Showing no opposition. Item passes to be withdrawn until October 13th.
All right, now we're on to consent agenda.
Mr. Clerk, I'm passing the gavel to Vice Mayor.
Duly noted, sir. Item 11.1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Gardens, Florida, recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2021 as Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Miami Gardens, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Julian. Item 11.2, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Gardens, Florida, allocating funds from Councilwoman Linda Julian's special events account in an amount not to exceed $600 for the Hispanic Heritage Month essay contest, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Julian. Item 11.3, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, amending the protocol manual attached here to is Exhibit A, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III. Item 11.4, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, allocating $3,000 from the Seat 6 Special Events account in support of the Teen Thursdays initiative, providing for adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III. Item 11.5, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, allocating $4,000 from the Seat 6 Public Affairs account to contribute funds to 4 local nonprofit organizations, providing for the adoption representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III. Item 11.6, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, urging retail stores and restaurants to dedicate 1 hour exclusively to those who are elderly or disabled, provided for adoption representation, provided for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilman Robert Stevens III. Item 11.7, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing city manager and city clerk to execute and attest respectfully that certain First Amendment to the Maintenance Memorandum of Agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT and Peran, for the landscape irrigation and decorative paver traffic separators maintenance, a copy of which is attached here to is Exhibit A, provided for adoption representation, provided for an effective date, and that's sponsored by the city manager, and that is your consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I need a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Ready for the vote? All in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Show it pass, Mr. Clerk.
Duly noted. We're now on to quasi-judicial zoning hearings / gender disclosures.
Good evening and welcome to the quasi-judicial portion of the September 8th City Council meeting. For those persons that will or may be speaking on an item on the agenda or commenting on any item, please stand up and be sworn in by the city clerk. For the applicant, your item will be called to order by agenda number and by the title of your request. When your item is called, please approach the microphone, and when addressed, please speak directly and clearly, stating your name and address for the record, and explain the reason for your request. Note that all exhibits presented to the mayor and council will become part of the public record.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is true and correct to the best of your knowledge? All right, you may be seated. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Before we move on, Mr. Mayor, is there any genuine disclosures from the council? All right, thank you.
All right, item 13.3, resolutions of public hearing. Item 13.3.1, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, approving the special exemption application submitted by Antonio Jules for the property located at 21435 Northwest 2nd Avenue, more particularly described on Exhibit A as attached here to permit a special event and banquet hall facility, waiving the minimum floor area requirement set forth in the code from 15,000 square feet to 1,344 square feet, approving the declaration of restricted attached here to is Exhibit C, providing for the adoption of representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Vice Mayor, council members, I'll turn the presentation over to Nikisha Smith, Planning and Zoning Director.
Good evening, City Council members. This request is for a special exception to permit a banquet hall for events, along with a waiver of the minimum floor area that is required for banquet hall use. Again, the applicant is Mr. Antonio Jules. The business is the Prestige Restaurant and Bakery. As you can see from the presentation, the waiver that is being requested, the required amount that is standard for banquet hall use in the development standards is 15,000 square feet. The amount provided by the location is 1,344 square feet. This slide shows the location of the business, which is located within the County Square Shopping Center. That is at Northwest 215th Street, County Line, and State Road 7441. Here are some views of the surrounding area. To the east of the location, you have single-family residential. The remaining views are commercial uses. To your west, you have a car dealership. There's also another car dealership to the north. And here is your south view, the Florida Fine Cars. The recommendation of the staff for this application for the special exception for banquet hall facility is denial. The reason being there's the significant variation between the minimum floor area that's required in the code of 15,000 square feet and that is able to be provided at the location. With that, if there's any questions, and we also have the applicant and owner here as well, if you have any follow-up questions.
Mr. Clerk, is there public comments on that?
Mr. Vice Mayor, there's no pre-registered public comments, no in-person public comments, nor have I received any written communication on this item.
Any questions from the dais?
Yes, I have one. As I read the document, I see that the applicant wants to, in addition to beer and wine, have hard liquor be served as a part of this special event operation. Is that accurate?
That is correct. So that would include zoning signing off on the liquor license, because all state liquor licenses have to be signed off by zoning. And so we would not be able to sign off on that license unless you approve this item.
So, Mr. Clerk, my question to you through the chair. So this will be a voice vote?
This would actually be a roll call vote because we are in a quasi-judicial proceeding.
Thank you.
Real quick, excuse me, Councilwoman. The applicant has a right to present also if you want.
Yes. Mr. Jules, would you like to speak?
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I'm sorry, but I was looking at something that I did not. This is the first time I say it. I don't understand it. I was not asking for me to have a banquet hall. That's two different things. Mrs. Smith talking about 15,000 square feet for a banquet hall. I'm not having a banquet hall. I have a restaurant which is, I hope everybody would go sometime to see it. It's a beautiful restaurant where I'm creating a lot of jobs for the community. I'm just asking to ask Miami Garden to help me with the liquor license, which when I came to the city and Mrs. Smith told me she would have signed it, but simply because I'm gonna have event mean that not banquet hall. I mean, that's two different things. I mean, when people go to the restaurant, they could sit and have a beer and stuff and everything, sweet 16, birthdays and everything, but not banquet hall. I mean, for me to like things. Okay, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
So with the liquor license, how far is Andover Middle School from this location? And are there any, I assume that there are some parameters or laws around that with the liquor license?
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Go ahead.
Nikisha.
Yes, as part of the liquor license, you would have to do it's called a distance verification survey. So that's a special purpose survey that would be done to see how far you are from parks, schools, churches, and other similar facilities.
What is it called, the distance?
It's a distance verification.
And Mr. Manager, was that done?
Yes.
It was done, yes. And what was the outcome?
I can pull that up for you. I would have to take a look at it, but that would require it would require a variance, but it would be an administrative variance. And this portion of it would have to happen first in order for that to happen.
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you all. Just like I expressed earlier today with the having to go through the budget and having to go, through the documents for the city council meeting, I tried my very best to go through the LDR, the land use regulation for this, but just didn't have ample time to go through it. So I just don't feel that I'm prepared to make an educated decision on this evening. So.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Real quick, because I'm a little confused on the language, because he's saying it's not a banquet hall. We're saying it's a banquet hall. What is he applying for? Is he applying for a liquor license or a banquet hall? I'm confused.
So he is applying for a banquet hall. Again, layman's terms might not be the same as what we use in our zoning code. So there might be a use that in the general public, this is what we call it. But when we look at the use in terms of the way that it's applied by zoning, then we use a different term. So he would like to have events, special events at the location. The closest that we have to that within our zoning code amongst assembly uses that we have is a banquet hall.
Mr. Vice
The
Mayor.
intent is,
Go ahead.
the intent is to have events, and so the closest use for us for that is a banquet hall.
Okay, we'll take Councilwoman Campbell then. Go ahead, Campbell.
So my question again, okay, what is currently at this site? Is it a bakery? Is it a restaurant? What is it at this location, this business?
It's currently a restaurant and a bakery. And in our zoning code, restaurants are permitted to sell beer and wine. So that is allowable and permissible. However, when you add to that use, where you start to want to have special events, then they're adding a secondary use to that, an accessory use, which would be the banquet hall use that you're here to vote on today.
So, okay, so if beer and wine is already being serviced at special events that this business has, what's the purpose of, escalating it or expanding it to hard liquor and getting the dance floor? I'm trying to understand what's your purpose, what's your angle? If he could answer me, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'll let him answer, but just to say, right now with the restaurant, he's not having special events. So that's what he's asking your permission for, to be able to do those special events. He's just doing the regular restaurant right now.
Okay.
I'll have.
Thank you, Councilman Shannon Campbell. It's a restaurant. It's a restaurant, and most of our community we always put a restaurant and bakery. So it's not a bakery, it's a restaurant where people could sit. I think Mrs. Smith has all the pictures. She could show you. It's a beautiful restaurant where people could sit with nice AC and everything. Actually, like I said before, Mrs. Smith told me that she would sign it, and because to sell liquor where people could sit and everything, that's not a problem. She only said that simply because I'm gonna have event like Sweet 16, birthday party, and everything. I would have to come in front of the council for you to approve it instead of her. But what I'm saying again, when I'm having event, if it's like over like couple of hundred people, whenever, whatever, I would be willing to hire off-duty officers to make sure everything was smooth. And unfortunately, you don't know the place. I set up the restaurant in a nice environment with cameras all over the place. As a matter of fact, I've been thrilled to see the Miami Garden police officers always visiting me, congratulating me, saying that, wow, this is a very nice place and everything. And it says that, and it's a beautiful place where people could sit, not a bakery.
Okay, thank you. Let's get to his question. Are you done?
Yeah, I'd like to
Councilman?
be recognized.
Yeah, let me just close out my thought in my head. You said a whole lot. It's beautiful, all that's good, but you still, what is your purpose for wanting to upgrade it to to have these?
All I'm saying is, I should be able to sell liquor where people could come and sit. Majority of restaurant right now, in the United States, if you have a restaurant and people cannot go sit and relax and get a drink, I mean, it's just like, for me right now, it's just like almost going out of business. It's because really people.
I think he's talking about we're talking about two different things here. I think we're talking about being able to sell drinks and having events, which are two different.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You can't tie them together.
Okay.
That's where we're stuck at, because you're tying them both together. That's why they're confused.
I should be able to.
So you're looking to, what is this for? Are we looking to have a liquor license, or, because he's saying two different things?
Okay.
Actually, I have the liquor license already.
Okay.
I have it already. I have a liquor license already. With the state already signed and everything. But I cannot use it until I got permission with the city of Miami Gardens. So that's all I'm asking Miami Gardens to give me the permission to be able
use
to
this
sell
liquor
drink over
license.
there. That's all I'm asking.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Go ahead,
I'd like to be
Mr.
recognized.
Mr. Council.
Thank you. A few questions, because I'm confused. My first question is, I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
Antonio Jules.
Okay, Mr. Jules, did you mention in your, when you stated that you came to the city and you was instructed that we would approve? Did someone, you say when you spoke to Ms. Smith?
I spoke with Mrs. Smith, and she told me, I've done everything. I comply with everything the city says. She told me when she asked me to do the variance, and then the variance was supposed to be 2,500 feet to the school, and it's 23 something, 23 something, and then it was just a little bit. She said, I would have signed it for you, but simply because you're gonna have event, let me send you in front of the council.
Okay, so.
Okay, and the school is very far.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay. So I just want to make sure, thank you for that statement. But I just want to make sure that what is happening here is that because you filed through the state of Florida to receive your liquor license, they've given you, the state has processed and did what they did on state level.
I have everything already with the state of Florida, except that I cannot do it until the city say yes.
Okay, give me a second. So you're waiting for the city to say yes. The reason why it's before us is because according to the current ordinance that we have in place, your facility has to be a certain square footage in order to receive liquor. I mean, for us to agree to you selling liquor. Is that correct?
Correct, and it requires.
What's the square
2,500
footage
feet
of
to
your?
the school?
What's the square footage of your bakery, sir? Or if we can, what's the square footage?
1344,
And what's the current usage for the in the ordinance?
15,000 feet, 15,000 square feet.
That's for banquet hall, which is different from what I'm trying to ask.
Okay. So are you looking to do renovation or construction in your facility?
No. The restaurant is already running. The restaurant is already there, running and everything.
Yeah, no, I understand. I just want to make sure that because you all are talking about events and having all of this different activities happening. I just want to make sure that according to your SWIFT, that what you're doing now is just basically wanting to sell liquor.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
And then which we really have the city of the state of Florida already the Department of Revenue everywhere already signed it, and then I only have the license. All I'm waiting for is for the city to give me the permission to start selling it. So the only thing that stopped me was the square footage, the distance. They require 2,500 feet, and then I have 23 something, over 20, almost 2,400 feet.
Okay.
So therefore,
Thank you. Are there any more questions from the council?
I just have one question. So this restaurant, so you're already having events. You're doing events.
Yeah.
Right? People come in, they eat, if they want to dance.
Yes,
fellowship.
that's
So you're
no.
having events.
Yes.
So that's not why you're here. You're here because you want the city to give you the authority to sell hard liquor.
Yes. The restaurant was only there running and everything, and then.
Okay, thank you, Madam Attorney.
I want to clarify a couple things. That he's not here to get your authority to sell hard liquor. He's here because he needs a special exception to operate a banquet hall, or if it's a nightclub, or even if it's a restaurant, he needs a special exception if it's a banquet hall or a nightclub. For the restaurant, even if he was coming in as a restaurant and not renting it out, he still doesn't meet the square footage. So no matter what, it was going to be in front of you today. Special exception uses in the code means that we don't necessarily approve or disapprove, but you want to take a look at it to see what it is. So what's before you now, and the reason Nikisha brought it as a banquet hall type of use is because you're renting it out. So I don't understand the correlation between him having a liquor license and renting out either. Because if you have a liquor license connected with the restaurant, we all understand that you have a liquor, or if you have a liquor license connected with the nightclub, we understand that. Generally with banquet halls, there's another level of licensing, so I'm not sure. But I know that it's before you today to make a decision on whether or not he should get a special exception and a waiver.
I'm sorry.
Give us a second. Give us a second, please. So. I think, did he apply for the wrong thing? So we need to vote on this as it is right now. And he would need to come back if it passes or fails. He would need to come back to make sure he applies for, if he's looking for a liquor license, then he would have to come back to apply for that. But right now, this ordinance is based on banquet hall facility.
That's right.
So we have to vote as it is
On
before us right now.
whether you're gonna authorize a special exception use, two things, to allow that banquet hall use, and whether or not you're gonna waive the code requirements, because banquet halls require 15,000 square feet. He has 1,300. So you're doing two things, voting on the special exception to allow the use and waiving the square footage requirement from 15,000 to 1,300. That's what's in front of you.
Okay, but he said he doesn't, give us a sec. He doesn't want a banquet hall. That's not what he's here for. Excuse me. So,
If it's renting it out, it's a banquet hall.
right, so we have to vote. Let's take the vote now.
Wait a minute. So now, okay, are you renting it out to people or you're paying rent to someone who owns the building? Because I'm confused now.
I'm now confusing myself.
Hold on.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So when we're talking about renting it out, like
Not renting out mean that is somebody who rent it
for a party.
No, not like that. Not like that. All I'm asking is your permission for me to sell.
Okay, because this is a public hearing on zoning, we have to deal with the matter at hand, which is banquet hall. So we have to vote on that as it is right now. Then if you may have to come back and resubmit what you're trying to do based on how this vote goes. But right now, we have to vote as it is, as its current position. What it says here, clear cut.
But thank
Okay.
you very much. But unfortunately, I did not add anything about it.
All right, thank you. So at this point, Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
So I can clarify, Vice Mayor? A vote
Excuse-
yes is voting to approve the application on the motion. A vote no on the motion is to deny the application. Just want that clear.
Okay, Mr. Clerk,
However, we need a motion on the item.
Oh,
I need a motion on the item.
Motion.
It's been moved. Give me a second. It's been moved in second. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Councilwoman Wilson? Councilwoman Julian? Councilman Stevens? Councilwoman Campbell?
No.
Councilwoman Godara?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Leon?
No.
Motion fails, 1-5.
Okay, thank you. Have a seat. Well, thank you. Moving on to reports from city manager, city clerk, city attorney.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I have no report.
I don't have a report, Vice Mayor.
No report.
Councilman Stevens. No report. Councilwoman Godara.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back in session. Although we did not meet during August, I did not stop or slow down. We continue to serve the city and our residents in residential area 3. We held our Unity, our monthly virtual town hall on August 4th. We held 3 back-to-school backpack giveaways. We had a home buyers seminar at Mount Herman, and we just had a senior prayer breakfast with a very special speaker, Pastor Kwame. And it was all done in the month of August. Now in September, we'll be having our Unity Town Hall the first Wednesday of the month. And we are collaborating with St. Thomas University and the Innocence Project on a red carpet premiere event. I will continue to pray for Haiti and New Orleans and the city of Miami Gardens. With that, I end my report. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Godara. Councilwoman Linda Julian. Thank you. Wow. Councilwoman Campbell.
Ooh. Well, I just want to thank everyone that supported the Orange Blossom Classic. We had a great time, no issues. So that was something positive for the community. I have an upcoming event on September 18th, the Entrepreneurship Experience. And you can register at mgys21.eventbrite.com. And we're asking for our young people to turn out so they can get some valuable information and some great takeaways. And I invite all my colleagues to come out and join me. In my next town hall, we're back in session, as my colleague stated, on the third Tuesday of the month. So I'm back at it, which is September 21st, 6:30. Tune in and you can call 305-622-8000, extension 2834 to get the credentials. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes. I would like to thank Keep Miami Gardens Beautiful for another successful community cleanup event. It was an excellent turnout of volunteers. Specifically, I'd like to thank Chairman Gilbert, Vice Chairman Oliver Gilbert, my colleague here, Councilwoman Shannon Campbell, for stopping by to assist us and to participate in cleaning up the corridor of 57th Avenue. It was a huge undertaking, but it was done very, very well. Also, I'd like to say to the administration and especially to Vernita, thank you so much for all of your work during the Orange Blossom Classic. You always are a perfect hostess and you managed us very, very well. So I really, really thank you for all that you did during that time. And again, the commissioners' welcome reception and luncheon was very, very nice. The Battle of the Bands and the football game were all excellent events. And again, kudos to the police department, to our administrative team for handling another large-scale event with almost bar none. Upcoming events, this Sunday, we will have our first Meet Me Sunday at Myrtle Grove Park, where we will discuss the renovations to the park. We will invite all residents to come out and to hear what is on the docket for the renovations for Myrtle Grove Park. And then Monday, next week on the 13th, we will have our first in-person return to our Meet Me Monday at Miami Carroll City Senior High School. It will also, Miami Carroll City Park. It will also be in person and virtual. So either way you go, you will get the credentials so that you are able to attend. And the topic then there will be the code ordinance and the renovations to Myrtle Grove Park also for in person. So thank you very much, Vice Chair.
Thank you. I want to thank Cameron Benson and Mr. Mayor Wadley for putting together the employee recognition daily luncheon, the luncheon that we had. It was wonderfully received by the employees. I've got plenty of emails in regards to us celebrating them, and I want that to be something that we continuously to do to make sure that we ensure the employees that we appreciate them. Also, we don't forget that we have our COVID vaccine and testing site on 27th Avenue. The address is 2775 Northwest 183rd Street, along with Jesse Trice. We'll be doing COVID vaccines all 3 Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 9 to 5, and testing is every day from 9 to 5. So let's make sure that we reach out to our loved ones and try to get those people that aren't vaccinated over there. We want to make sure that we had something here in the city of Miami Gardens that we were able to make sure we're able to take care of our people. So thank you to the council for supporting my efforts in doing that. So with that being said, this meeting is adjourned.